Okay, so we're diving into something really practical today. Everyone wants to get better at conversations, feel more confident and connected.
Right, it's like a universal desire.
And you shared this awesome resource, How to Properly Respond, Chuo in the original Chinese. So we're going to dig into it.
Yeah, pull out the gems, make it super useful.
Exactly. For anyone heading into, I don't know, a networking event or just wanting to level up their everyday chats.
Absolutely. And what's great about this book, it's not just theory.
Oh yeah, it's super practical.
It's packed with techniques you can actually use starting, well, today.
Today, yeah. To feel more at ease and really make others feel heard and understood.
That's the key, right? Building that rapport.
So let's jump in. Right off the bat, this book throws out a stat that kind of blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently 55%, a full 55% of a first impression comes from what people see.
Wow, that's huge.
It's your facial expressions, your body language,
Really, more than what you're saying.
way more. Then another 38% is tone of voice.
So that leaves.
A measly 7% for the actual words you speak.
Oh, wow. So it's not what you say, but how you say it and how you look while saying it.
Exactly. And the book digs into how these nonverbal cues, they're like this emotional barometer.
Makes sense. You get a vibe from someone before they even open their mouth.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, being aware of both your own body language and the other person's.
Yeah, it's like tapping into this whole other level of communication.
Definitely. The book is this great example. Imagine two people being told, hey, you both got the job at X company.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
One person just kind of shrugs, oh yeah, totally flat, shoulders slumped.
Ugh, not very enthusiastic.
But the other person lights up, smiles, it's just luck. Same basic message, totally different vibe.
Totally.
So point number one, right? Genuine smile, open posture. It makes a huge difference.
Makes you approachable.
And the book even says, practice this. Present a cheerful appearance regularly.
So it becomes natural, not forced.
Exactly. It's like signaling, hey, I'm open, I'm trustworthy.
Subconsciously, people pick up on that.
And that makes them way more open to whatever you say next.
Okay, so we've got the visual, the tone. Now the book goes into actual listening.
Which is harder than it sounds.
Yeah, it's an active skill.
And the book drops this proverb, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Pretty straightforward wisdom there.
Listen more, talk less.
And I think for our listeners, who are all about getting to the good stuff quickly, true listening. It's not just being quiet.
No, it's about actively creating a space for the other person.
Yeah, where they feel comfortable, valued, heard.
Safe to share what's on their mind.
And the book calls out some major conversation killers.
Yeah.
Things we all do.
Oh, I'm sure I'm guilty of some of these.
Like constantly interrupting.
Ooh, yeah.
Always trying to one-up someone's story.
Or negating their points.
Right. Lecturing them.
Or even those half-hearted mm-mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not really paying attention.
So first step, recognize these habits in ourselves.
Yeah, catch yourselves doing it.
Then we can start to shift the focus to really listening.
The book has this great analogy. It says listening is like inhaling.
Before you can exhale your response.
You need to fully take in what the other person is saying. Process it.
Then you can formulate a response that actually makes sense.
Right, and is relevant to what they just shared.
Not just our own preloaded thoughts.
And their actionable tip. Make a conscious effort to hear the other person out completely.
Completely.
Before you even start thinking about what you want to say back.
It seems so basic, but I bet most of us don't do that.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Okay, now, once we've actually listened, the book talks about something called smart reactions.
Smart reactions.
It's about proactively responding to the little things.
The little things, okay.
To build up your conversational reflexes.
So not profound statements.
No. More like noticing a new haircut.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
Commenting on the weather.
Right, or reacting to the portion size of your food, or
like a well-timed nod.
Or smile at a baby.
Exactly. Small things, but they show you're present.
Engaged.
The book even suggests practicing self-talk while watching TV or reading.
Self-talk?
Yeah, just to get those reaction muscles working.
Interesting.
And, of course, the basics. Greetings, expressing gratitude.
Always important.
The benefit here, it makes people feel secure, valued when they're talking to you.
Because you're signaling, hey, I'm here with you.
Right, I'm present.
Okay, and to really show you're engaged, the book talks about this concept called yune, or ducking fuhe.
Ooh, that sounds complicated. What is it?
Basically, it's about interjecting and agreeing in those small ways.
Oh, okay. Little verbal
Yeah,
cues
like, or right, or icy.
to show you're following along.
Exactly. It's like giving the speaker these little breadcrumbs.
Makes them feel like they're not talking into a void.
Totally. And the book is this example. Someone's sharing their dream of going to Paris.
Okay, I like where this is going.
And as they're talking, you just sprinkle in those little peek and or NN.
Those ahas and
And it encourages them to, like, keep going, elaborate.
feel heard and encouraged.
Right. But, of course, it has to be genuine.
Can't just be robotic.
Definitely not.
Okay, what else?
There's another technique they call og, or chahua.
More Chinese terms, I love it. Break it down for me.
It's about cleverly inserting these short phrases.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Things like, ah,
Which means,
then what?
okay, I got that one.
Or, oui,
Really?
yep, or, eh.
That one's a bit tougher.
It means like, so that's how it is.
I see. It's like showing genuine curiosity and interest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It keeps the conversation flowing.
It prevents those awkward dead ends.
The book gives this great scenario. Imagine someone tells you they bought their first lottery ticket.
Okay, their first time.
Now, instead of just saying, like, oh, I see,
Right, which is kind of flat.
you could say something like, your first time buying, what made you decide to get one?
Oh, that's good.
Or, nice, how much did you get?
Or being a first timer, you're bound to win. Beginner's luck, right?
Exactly. It shows you're interested, you're invested in what they're saying.
Love these tips. What else is in this treasure trove?
Okay, moving beyond just showing you're listening, there's this technique called the parrot method. Or I owe you. Or yang hui ha in Chinese.
Okay, parrot method. I think I can guess what that is.
It's pretty much what it sounds like. You repeat the speaker's words back to them.
So simple, but I bet it's effective.
Super effective. The book explains it instantly shows you've understood.
Makes the other person feel heard and validated.
Exactly. But to give this example, where did you go on vacation? I went to Kyoto with my wife.
Okay, classic vacation chat.
Now, instead of just moving on, you say Kyoto.
Right, simple repetition.
And then they might say, yeah, I love historical streets, and it was my first time staying in Jian.
And you say, oh, wow.
Your first time in Jian.
It's not just echoing, it's showing I'm listening, I care about what you're saying.
And that creates this deeper connection.
So powerful.
And it works for all kinds of statements, not just neutral ones.
Oh, really? Like where
Like if someone says, thank you,
instead of just saying you're welcome,
you can say, ayo,
which means,
I should also thank you. Creates this nice reciprocity.
oh, I like that.
Or if someone says something negative like, ugh, it hurts,
Instead of I'm sorry.
you can say, it must really hurt.
Oh, wow, that's showing empathy.
Mirroring their words, especially with negative emotions,
It's like you're sharing their experience.
which can be super comforting.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that one.
All right, so we've all been there, stuck in a conversation about something we couldn't care less about.
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time.
The book tackles this head on. They use the example of golf.
The classic.
Like someone's going on and on about their latest round, and you're like,
Totally zoning out.
what's the strategy here?
Well, the book says don't fake enthusiasm.
Right, that never works.
Instead, ask questions that reveal something about the speaker.
About them, not the golf game.
Exactly. Like instead of nodding blankly what they describe their swing, ask, what got you into playing golf in the first place?
Oh, that's good.
Or, what do you enjoy most about being out on the course?
Shifting the focus to their experience.
Or even ask something from your own perspective, like, could someone as uncoordinated as me even attempt to play golf?
That's great. It shows you're trying, even if you're not into the topic itself.
And the book cautions against feigning interest or trying to steer the conversation somewhere else that might be equally boring for them.
Right, it's about being present.
Which reminds me, the book talks about absent-mindedness in conversations.
Like when our minds wander,
Exactly. We're thinking about what we had for lunch or what we need to do later.
and the other person can sense that, right?
Absolutely. It subtly damages that connection.
Being present shows respect.
And genuine interest.
Okay, here's a really interesting angle on expanding your social circle.
Oh, I'm all ears.
The book says, use those uninteresting topics to potentially connect the speaker with someone else you know.
Connect them with someone else.
Yeah, it's called the Sandai or Huikui the principle of reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Okay. Explain that one.
So You show genuine interest in someone's passion, even if you're not into it yourself.
Right, like making a deposit in the relationship bank.
Exactly. They give the example of someone who's super into fishing.
Okay, not my thing, but I can see how this would work.
You ask thoughtful questions, even though you don't know a thing about fishing rods.
Right, just to learn more about them.
And then you realize, hey, this person would totally hit it off with my neighbor who's a fishing fanatic.
And you make the introduction.
Exactly. It's giving without expecting anything directly back from the fishing conversation.
But that goodwill often comes back around.
In unexpected ways. You might find more opportunities, more information coming your way.
Because you're seen as someone who connects people.
A facilitator.
I love that. Okay, now, what about breaking the ice? Those initial moments of a conversation.
The book talks about the importance of small talk, or what they call universal topics.
Universal topics. Okay, so things you can talk about with almost anyone.
Right, and they say small talk isn't just superficial chatter.
It's more than that.
It's a warm-up.
A way to reduce tension.
Reveal a bit about someone's personality.
Okay, so what are some safe bets for small talk?
Well, first, the book says, avoid those intrusive personal questions.
Especially with people you just met.
Yeah, like what's your salary? Or are you single?
Whoa, too much, too soon.
Exactly. Stick to neutral ground initially.
So what are some good starting points?
The book gives a list of 7 universal topics. Things like work, the weather, current news.
Okay, pretty safe.
More empathetic topics, like asking about their hometown,
Yeah.
any mutual connections.
That's a good one.
If you're at a meal, food, in restaurants,
Always a winner.
offering genuine compliments.
Like what?
You could compliment their style, or just express concern for their well-being.
Like, hey, you look a little tired. Is everything okay?
Exactly. You can also explore their values by asking about their hobbies.
Oh, that's a good way to get to know them.
You can comment on your immediate surroundings or even share appropriate emotions.
So like, wow, this weather is crazy right now.
Totally. And it gets even more specific. They have these yuchehi or badawanyong liaxing.
Okay, more Chinese. I'm loving it. What are those?
8 major categories of universal topics.
Hit me with them.
Work, weather, the current season, health, news, entertainment, local streets and neighborhoods, and transportation.
Okay, so pretty much anything you'd encounter in daily life.
And for each of these, they suggest specific opening lines and follow-up questions.
Give me an example.
Okay, for work, instead of saying, what do you do?
Which can be a bit direct.
Right, like an interrogation. You could say, you look like you've been busy today.
Yeah.
Or, are you enjoying what you're working on?
Much softer, more approachable.
And the book emphasizes being observant, using your surroundings to spark conversations.
So being present, like we talked about earlier.
Exactly. They outline or joke das kim jeki. 9 key tips.
9 tips. That's a lot to remember.
But they're pretty intuitive. Noticing the current season, upcoming events, someone's nonverbal cues.
Okay, using what's already there.
Anything related to their health, recent news, current trends.
Being aware of what's going on around you.
And just generally being attuned to those little details.
Makes your conversation starters feel more natural.
Now, building on that idea of connection, the book talks about the similarity principle, or HERM, which is Zhangzi Fize in Chinese.
Similarity principle, that sounds familiar.
It's the idea that we tend to like people who are similar to us.
Oh, right, like that saying birds of a feather.
Exactly. So the book suggests looking for common ground.
Common ground, okay. Like what?
Age, where you were born, where you live now, mutual friends, even family situations.
But be careful with family stuff, right? Especially with new people.
Definitely. Don't get too personal too quickly.
Got it.
The book gives a fun example of 2 people who just met, discovering they're both huge fans of the same Japanese singer.
Instant bond.
And they even like the same songs from the same era.
Powerful stuff.
And they give specific opening lines. You could ask Ashwati, where were you born?
Classic.
Or where do you live?
Another good one.
Or if you suspect a mutual connection, Iswa, do you know so-and-so?
Easy way to find common ground.
Even noticing a ring on someone's finger can spark a conversation about family.
But again, be mindful of boundaries.
Okay, let's talk food. The book calls it shiwuhuati.
Food is always a good topic.
Right, everyone eats. The book highlights it as an easy, universally engaging way to start a conversation.
Makes sense.
They even provide a little example conversation about discovering a shared love for spicy food
Okay, that's relatable.
and how that can lead to recommendations for restaurants or dishes.
Oh, you like spicy. You got to try this place.
Exactly. And they suggest preparing some food-related anecdotes or trivia.
Little known facts about grilled chicken, that kind of thing.
Yep, just to make those food-based conversations even more engaging.
Another great way to connect, offering genuine compliments.
The book is big on this.
Because who doesn't love a sincere compliment?
They give this sweet example of someone complimenting another person's tie.
Okay, pretty standard.
But then they extend the compliment to the guy's daughter who helped pick it out,
Oh, that's nice.
acknowledging her good taste.
So it's not just about the object, it's about the person behind it.
Exactly. But the key is, it has to be genuine.
Fake compliments are the world.
Okay, now, most people love to talk about their passions.
Their areas of expertise.
The book says make that the focus of the conversation.
Because it's something they're naturally enthusiastic about.
Exactly. They use the example of seeing someone with a nice camera.
Okay, I can see this happening.
You ask about it, what kind of photos they enjoy taking.
Drawing them out, letting them share their passion.
Right. You can also directly ask about hobbies or share your own to see if there's any overlap.
Find that common ground.
So what about those times when there's just nothing obvious to talk about?
Those awkward silences.
The book introduces Cho Hakiwati, which means impromptu topics.
Impromptu topics, okay.
It's all about using your surroundings.
Like what? Give me some ideas.
You could comment on a piece of artwork, the decor of a cafe.
Oh, I see. Or like, wow, I love that plant.
Exactly. You can even discreetly mention something about other people nearby.
But keep it positive, right.
Always. No gossiping.
Got it.
And sometimes, the strongest connections come from shared feelings.
Oh, yeah, like I feel the same way.
The book explains that expressing "tu shi chun de da" can create instant rapport.
Especially with shared frustrations, right?
Right. They give examples related to work stress, shared excitement,
Or even like mild annoyance about something.
like, ugh, this line is taking forever.
And the other person's like, tell me about it.
Exactly. Even if you can't fully relate, the book says, try to find partial similarities in feelings.
Okay, so like if someone's upset about being stuck in traffic.
Even if you had a smooth commute, you can still empathize with the feeling of being inconvenienced.
Just acknowledge their emotion.
Okay, now, the book gets real about some topics to avoid.
Oh, there are always those, right?
They explicitly list 4 dara, or genjihuati:
Forbidden topics, literally.
religion, politics, race, and ideology.
Yeah, those can get heated fast.
They are inherently divisive.
Especially with people you don't know well.
They give this example of a casual conversation that goes south when someone starts pushing their political views.
Oof. Yeah, been there.
And they extend that warning to other opinionated topics,
Like strong opinions about art.
or fierce loyalty to a sports team.
Oh, yeah. Sports fans can be intense.
Even well-intentioned advice on sensitive topics, like having children.
Right. Unsolicited advice is rarely welcome.
Stick to neutral territory, especially early on.
Okay, good advice. What else?
Here's a simple but super effective technique: adding a sentence to your responses.
Adding a sentence. Okay, I'm intrigued.
They illustrate it with this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asks, did you come by bike today?
Okay, simple question.
A one-word answer, yes, can kill the conversation.
Dead end?
But if you add a sentence,
Like,
yes, I came by bike, I'm trying to get more exercise lately.
oh, that opens up a whole new avenue.
Or, yes, it was such a beautiful day for a ride, I couldn't resist.
Now we can talk about the weather or biking routes.
Exactly. It shows consideration for the other person.
And gives them something to respond to.
The book even asks you, our listener, if you're finding this deep dive helpful. And they encourage you to practice adding a sentence to your mental response.
Love it.
Okay, now, for those times when you're trying to get someone talking,
Someone who's a bit quiet.
the book recommends the 5W1H framework.
Ah, the classic. Who, what, when, where, why, how.
It's a great way to guide the conversation.
Give it some structure.
They use the example of someone who says they were robbed.
Okay, heavy topic.
Instead of just saying, oh no, that's terrible,
Which is kind of a dead end.
you ask targeted questions using the 5W1H framework.
Like, when did it happen?
What was stolen?
Where did this occur?
It helps them process the experience
Yeah,
and
well-
keeps the conversation flowing.
Makes sense.
Okay, this one might feel counterintuitive. The book actually encourages silence in conversations.
Silence. Really, most people try to avoid that at all costs.
Right. But the book contrasts the novice's discomfort with silence,
That urge to fill every gap.
with the expert communicator's view of silence as an opportunity
An opportunity for what?
to build trust,
Okay, interesting.
Allow for reflection.
So, like, those long-term couples you see in cafes, comfortable just sitting together quietly.
Exactly. The book encourages you to reframe silence,
Not as something awkward or negative.
but as a natural part of the rhythm of the conversation.
Maybe even a shared moment of relaxation.
Embrace it, smile.
Don't panic.
And they make a great point. Trying too hard to fill every silence can actually make things more uncomfortable.
Because it feels forced, unnatural.
Now, when someone's experiencing strong emotions,
Our natural instinct is to jump in with solutions.
give advice,
But the book says,
empathy over advice.
or at least initially,
Validate their feelings first.
with phrases like,
I understand you.
show them you get it.
They give the example of a frustrated team leader venting about a problem.
And instead of immediately offering solutions,
Just listen.
offer support.
Let them know you're there for them.
Makes sense. People are more receptive to advice when they feel heard and understood.
Okay, last but not least, the book acknowledges that listening to complaints isn't fun,
Nobody enjoys that.
but it's part of maintaining close relationships.
So how do we handle it without getting drained?
The book gives 4 key principles.
Okay, lay them on me.
Be empathetic.
Number 1, got it.
Don't negate their feelings.
So even if you disagree, don't say, oh, come on, it's not that bad.
Exactly. Avoid defending the subject of the complaint.
Even if you secretly agree with the complaint.
And, most importantly, don't internalize their negativity.
Oh, that's a good one. Don't let it drag you
I
down.
use this analogy. Be like a lightning rod.
The lightning rod.
Let the negative energy pass through you.
Without getting zapped.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial for your own well-being, know how to tactfully change the subject after you've listened for a reasonable amount of time.
Okay, so you're not becoming a dumping ground.
Exactly.
So much good stuff in this book.
Right. We covered a lot. From nonverbal cues to deep listening to specific techniques like the parrot method and using those universal conversation starters.
We talked about finding common ground, navigating awkward silences, handling strong emotions.
And those tricky topics to avoid.
You've got a whole toolkit now for more effective, enjoyable conversations.
Build stronger relationships, navigate social situations with confidence.
And create those genuine aha moments in your interactions.
You're moving beyond feeling overwhelmed and really starting to connect on a deeper level.
I love it.
So here's a final thought for you to ponder.
They're ready.
Think about which 1 or 2 of these techniques really resonated with you.
The ones that felt most useful, most impactful.
And identify just 1 small change you can implement in your very next conversation.
Something specific, actionable.
Maybe it's adding that extra sentence to your response.
Or paying more attention to nonverbal cues.
Really focus on that one thing,
See how it shifts the dynamic.
the outcome of the interaction.
Because this deep dive,
It's not the end
it's just the beginning.
of your journey to becoming more skillful, engaging, and connected communicator.
I'm excited to keep learning.